Hi everybody, and welcome to week 2 of Creative Kids Club. This week we're going to be doing some painting. So there's a few things to get out of the way ahead of time. First of all, it is acrylic paint, so this is washable. However, you still don't really want to get it on your clothes or anything else. So it's a good idea to put something down on your surface you're working on, whether it's an old vinyl tablecloth, which is what we often use here, or just some newspaper, or really anything. And also, you don't want to get in your clothing. So just wear some old clothes or put on a smock or some kind of apron just to keep it off your clothing. All right, let's take a look at what's in our bag. And as always, if you aren't in the class and you don't have a bag, these are the things you're going to need to do the project today. So there'll be a piece of parchment paper, 2 pieces of paper, one of which has a circle on it. A little bit of sponge, and there'll be 4 little paint pots. 4. And then last thing, there'll be 4 little popsicle sticks like this, and there'll be a few toothpicks. And I'll show you what those are for in a moment. There's one thing that's not in there that you are going to need. That is just a little container of water. I just use an old yogurt container. You can use whatever you have on hand. You can even just use a mug. Just make sure you clean it afterwards. I'm going to put this out of the way here. And you are going to need the pencil you got last week. Or any pencil will do. So we're going to start with something that I suspect a lot of you know about. I know some of you know about, which is our color wheel. And this is a really great thing, not just for student artists, but for any artists to go back to sort of remind themselves and understand. And especially in times like right now, where maybe you can't run out to get whatever you need at any time. Maybe you only have the basic colors on hand. To remind yourself that those colors can make anything that you want. So we're going to take, first of all, our piece of paper with the circle on it. You're going to want to take your pencil and just draw a line right through the middle of the circle. And this by no means needs to be perfect, just right through there. So you'll have 2 halves, and then divide each of those halves in 2. So we're making a pie, like this. So it should look like this in the end, or roughly like that. And we're going to fill in each one of these segments with a different color. Now this piece of your parchment paper, this is your palette. I know maybe a lot of you have used a plastic palette or one with little tubs for all the colors. That's not necessary. You can really use something like this. You can use plastic wrap. You can use a piece of glass. Really anything will work with as a palette. This one is great because when it's done, you can just kind of throw it away. So we're going to start with that. Oh, and you'll also have a paintbrush in your container, which I didn't have in mine because I just put it together for myself, but I'm going to grab that. So everyone will have a paintbrush that looks roughly like this. They'll be maybe slightly different size, but it'll look like this. Now I'm going to ask you to open one of the colors of paint. You don't have to start. We're not using the white yet. Red, yellow, or blue, which are our primary colors. That means these colors can be used to mix to make any other color. I'm going to start with my red. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to open it carefully because it's been knocked around a little bit in the container. Now this is where I'm going to get one of these popsicle sticks out. I'm just going to use it to take a little bit of paint out. We're using small paint brushes and we're using small pieces of paper. We do not need a lot of paint. So I'm going to take this red and I'm going to use it to fill in one of these. So I'm going to fill in this one here. And this does not need to be neat and pretty. It just needs to be showing us what color it is. All right, just like that. So that is our red. Rinse off your brush in your water. And don't leave your brush in your water. Take it out and lay it down. Now I'm going to go for our next color. I'm going to choose blue. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get a fresh popsicle stick. I'm going to take a little bit of this blue and I'm going to put it on my palette. And I'm going to paint with it. Now you don't want to do the next one. You want to skip one and then fill one in. So you want your red or whatever color you used and then a white one next to it and then fill in the next one. All right, so I've filled in my blue. So we have one primary color left, and that is our yellow. Once again, rinsing off my brush really well, opening my yellow. Getting a fresh popsicle stick. I'm just taking a little bit of yellow out and putting it on my palette here. And once again, we're going to leave a white one in between all of them and put our yellow over here. And just fill it in just kind of roughly like that. And rinse your brush again. All right, now we're going to move on to these spaces. So we filled in our primary colors, and now we want our secondary colors. And where do those colors come from? They come from mixing our primary colors. And the reason we do the color wheel the way we do is to fill in this one, we mix yellow and red. To fill in this one, we mix blue and red. To fill in this one, we mix yellow and blue. So the colors on either side of it are mixed to fill it in. Now you don't really want to use your brush for too much mixing, but you can use your toothpick. So say I want to mix my red and my yellow. Well, I'm going to take a bit of this red. I have lots of it. And you can use your popsicle stick too, but I like to use these for the actual mixing. And there. I'm going to move this over so it's really easy to see. And that is me mixing my red and my yellow together to get an orange color. Now the actual color you get is going to depend on how much red and how much yellow. So say I want to put a little bit more yellow in there. I can take this one and I can just kind of drop a bit more in there. Make it really yellow. Take my popsicle stick, or not my popsicle stick, my toothpick. And I'm going to get like a much lighter orange than I had before. I think I like that one. I'm going to use it. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to fill in this space right here between my yellow and my red. Now the reason there is a fourth cup of color, and that is the white, is if you find any of these really too dark and you can't make them any lighter, just put some white in there and it'll just lighten that up for you. All right, so I'm going to move these over a little bit. I've done my orange. I'm going to do the next one. So I mix blue and red, and let's see what happens there. So I'm going to take some of my red again. I'm just going to put it in my blue pile over here. And I'm going to get another toothpick and just mix those up. And what I get is purple. Now I think I have a lot more blue than red in there, so it's going to be a very bluey purple. But if I don't like that and I want more red, just grab some more red, put it in. Mix that up. And just get a really nice purple color there. I'm going to grab my paintbrush. I haven't rinsed it off. Better do that. Rinse off my paintbrush there. and paint that in with my purple. All right, now we filled in my purple. One more left to go. Can we guess what's going to be in that one? We're going to mix blue and we're going to mix yellow together. So I've got some yellow here. I'm going to grab some blue and put it in. Just a little bit of blue there. Grab another toothpick. And we'll see that what we get is green. There's actually quite a nice green there. So I'm going to take that green and I'm going to paint in this last spot. And just like that, we have our color wheel. It's really handy to keep a little color wheel on hand. If you think you might forget which colors you have to mix together to get which, the color wheel will always show you. And there's other ways that artists will use this as well. If you look at colors that are opposites on the color wheel, so on this one you see green and red are opposites. If you use both of those in the picture, they'll make each other really show up. The same with orange and blue, and the same with purple and yellow. So now we have our paints and we have a palette for mixing. So now is when we want to try to mix some different colors. So I have some yellow and I want to make maybe a different kind of orange. So I'm going to grab my yellow and some more red. Maybe lots of red this time. Grab a toothpick and make like a really nice dark orangey color there. And maybe this time I'm going to put a little bit of white in there. Let's see what happens. Then I'm going to get like a peachy pink color. Oh yeah, there's a nice pink. If I want more orangey there, just put more yellow. So now's the time when you really want to take some time and experiment with this and get a bunch of different colors and see how you get darker colors and how you get lighter colors. You can put some on the edges here if you want to. And once you've done that, you're going to have a lot of different colors on your palette. This is when you take your second piece of paper. And this is the project we're going to do with this. And this is when, again, you're going to want your pencil, or if you have markers, grab a marker, some pencil crayons, whatever you like. You can even paint it on. And we're going to draw, I'm going to put it this way. You don't have to. I'm going to draw a tree. So there, with these two lines is my tree trunk. And then I'm just going to draw some branches coming out of that. And branches coming out of those branches. And branches coming out of those branches. Branches everywhere. So now we have a naked tree here. And this is where you want to grab your sponge. And you can use it dry or you can wet it just a little bit in your water. Just a little bit though. And then take some of the colors you've made, dip your sponge in, and put some leaves on your tree. Let's see, there's some purple there. I want to maybe put some of my new pinky peachy color here and put it over in this part. And then I'm going to grab, there's still some green on this tree, maybe in the bottom here. And, oh, I have another orange here, really orangey orange. This is like my fall orange color. And it's going to go on this side. And then you can go with your original colors as well. So I still have some red. Put some red. Put a little bit of red in there. I'm going to rinse off my sponge again. And it can't hurt to have a little bit of paper towel on hand just to dry things off. And I want to do some just plain yellow. So I'm going to grab some yellow out again. Just a little bit right there and put it up in this area right here. So you can go from left to right or right to left and make your tree look like a rainbow. Or you can just kind of spread it around and put whatever you want in there. And you end up with a beautiful tree. Now, if you want to, of course, you can go through and mix some colors. And if you mix all the colors together, you're going to get a kind of a brown color. So if I take my purple and I put some, yellow in there, I'm going to end up with kind of a brown. I'm going to try that and see. Mix that all up. Get like a brown color there. And I'm going to maybe paint my trunk in that brown. But you don't have to paint the trunk if you just want to draw it in. Because the important part is your beautiful colored leaves, the colors you mixed all yourselves. You started with just your primary colors and you discovered you could make anything out of them. There we go. So I hope you had a lot of fun with this. I hope you keep on painting and mixing paints. There should be quite a bit there for you to work with. And have a great week.